I have a friend who wants to start his company. And as a matter of fact, all of his saving went into that startup. He built up his cloud. He started putting all of his data there. He started serving the community in that perspective to build this trust, to build that great trust that will not only bring him a great development, digital economy, but also it will add value to him, to his family, to everybody in that perspective. However, he got an attack. All of his saving flourished and went into loss. Not only that, but even his home, his kids were actually impacted by that attack. Their data being leaked all over the social media. And then comes, I'm sure you know, the blackmailing as well as the bullying to those family, to many of the people there. That expanded as well as his company is connected to critical infrastructures of a whole nation. That impacted that nation as well. My name is Mohamed Al Kuwaiti. I'm the head of cybersecurity, and I will take you through that great thread that we are, based on our values, based on our great traditions, living in the past, continuing this in the future, and actually serving the present. We all know the importance of having this peace of mind, ability of opening our business without really fearing from any of those attacks. And that's the message of UAE. We are trying to ensure everybody is safe and secure. As a matter of fact, we're not only looking at those competitiveness rankings and numbers of number one on that, definitely, but our focus is the human being. Our centric focus is on those human beings. Yes, those human rights that we need to extend not only on the physical world, but also on the virtual world. And that's the message of our leadership. We need to use the technology for the benefit of the people. And I'm sure with the great vision of our leadership, moving towards an AI nation will dictate many of those aspects. We in the domain of cybersecurity, we see so many things in that aspect. As a matter of fact, and I'm sure you're living in one, we're moving towards an AI cities, smart nations. We were, alhamdulillah, with the great, again, inspirational, aspirational thinker, with the great partnership, with the great 200 nationalities we have here, have really built that into a great smart nations. All our critical infrastructures have been digitized. We're talking about healthcare, we're talking about education, energy, aviation, you name it. Any of those sectors have already transformed. As a matter of fact, we can finish our services, be it with the municipalities, be it with the government, be it with our single home allowances, or even things that we do all from our devices. And that's what brought us to number one. And that's the vision of our leadership, to always stay number one because of you all, because of that great partnership, because of the things that we do and the vision that we have. Continuing in being number one, we face so many attacks. As a matter of fact, in a daily basis here in UAE, we face more than 250,000 attacks. And these attacks varies between a data leak to a ransomware, to scams, to frauds, you name it. And these attacks will always continue because we're adopting technologies. We're moving towards quantum era. Not only the AI that we are actually using, but even, alhamdulillah, with the great vision, we're already starting our footprints into that quantum era. And to those who follows, I'm sure you know, more than $9.5 trillion have already been lost because of these attacks. Imagine your data your device, how much it's worth to you. Imagine a country, how much the data of that national security aspects is worth to that country. And this is the next fuel, as everybody says. The criminals seize this data as a gold mine. And this is where they actually come and attack. And they use AI in order to perpetrate as well as orchestrate their attacks. So cybersecurity is not a technological aspect that we always been depending on. Cybersecurity becomes a human-centric, a peace of mind that we need to spread the culture of cybersecurity to everybody. And this is where it comes. This is our lifestyle. This is how we see all of this happening and evolving in our lifestyle. From that, sending money to a virtual healthcare, to children uses this technology even more than we do, to even the levels of we're changing the curriculums as well as so many things in order to adapt to this great technology that it will make a change. And these are ideas worth sharing. And we are sharing those ideas. Our main goal here is to really send the message of cybersecurity awareness. We always focus on the human-centric, and we need the human-centric and the human being to be our first line of defense. All of us gets those attacks. As a matter of fact, statistically speaking, many of the attacks is because of a weakness of that human being. And that's why we're sending and really spreading the awareness. Maybe you receive a link that will attack you or spread your data. Maybe you will receive an email that contains a file. Or maybe, as I was discussing a minute ago, maybe you design your agent and you give it so many access. You allow it to do everything for you. However, I'm sure without controlling this agent, you will be attacked. This agent could leak the data with any ways possible. And yes, there are so many attacks happening because of this. And this is where the new battlefields is happening, as a matter of fact. It's not a battle on the physical world, as we saw across us on all of those geopolitical aspects. There are warfares happening, missiles flying, drones targeting. However, when all of this is stopped, there is a greater war have started already, if not already been started, as a matter of fact, and this is the cyber warfare. And this is where we see so many attacks, so many traffic, so many things trying to penetrate or even attack our critical infrastructures. And many of this, as a matter of fact, have even evolved not only to a nation state, but also to human being. I'm sure you know that attacks does not distinguish between people, entities, companies, governments, countries. Attackers, sometimes they're behind the money. Sometimes they are motivated by the data that they collect in order to build up into that attack for a future attacks. A simple deep fake, be it a video, be it a voice, be it any of those data poisoning that we see, could really collapse a whole market. And I'm sure the history have seen so many of those aspects, and we, as a matter of fact, have witnessed so many of those aspects. We categorize those attacks into three main categories. One of them is the cyber crimes. And we give an example of my friend whose company was really affected, impacted, and with a simple ransomware, motivated by money, and allow him to actually lose all of these aspects. Similarly to whose kids, where the kids were bullied, where actually really their data leaked, and his family went into a psychological type of aspects and allowing everybody to actually have a fear. And then there is the cyber terrorism, which is, I'm sure, you've seen it everywhere. It's the sending of a radicalized message. It's the misinformation and disinformation that we see in our social media. Everybody uses those social media and they faces so many things, be it right, be it wrong. This is up to us how to actually decide. And this is where our thread comes handy. This is where our values, how we actually born as well as raised into those values to distinguish between right and wrong, to really use it to the values of our human being, our human right, our loyalty in many of those aspects. And then there is definitely the cyber warfare. These cybercrime to cyber terrorism to cyber warfare could be perpetrated by state actor, non-state actor, proxies, entities, you name it. Everybody uses this and they do not distinguish between people, between countries, entities, or so many of those aspects. What we know is technology will continue with us. We're moving from, again, e-government to smart government to AI government, moving toward quantum government, using so many Internet of Things, cloud computing, AI. So many technologies are coming. And the global technologies landscape have already evolved into more and more of those aspects. Here in UAE, we have set 5 main pillars in order to govern or as well as really regulate many of those aspects. The first pillar is the governance. We need policies, procedures, legislations, laws, treaties, you name it. But we need a governance model. We are missing that Cyber Geneva Convention that allows us to actually practice what we need on that cyberware without fear of attack. The second pillar is the building, developing those technologies for the benefit of the human being. The third one is the partnership. We cannot do this without partnering with everybody. And that's the main pillar of actually having us all here. The fourth one is our mission to protect and to defend. So allowing everybody to feel safe in opening their business online or even communicating and building their stuff online. Education safely online. And that's where we're actually heading. And the fifth pillar is what UAE is well known about, innovation. And this is where we at, as a matter of fact, innovating things to help us all to build up that great aspects. So from governance to protecting, to partnering, to developing and to innovating. That's our model. Allows everybody, as a matter of fact, to work together. Public, private, people, partnership. That's our message. That's how we, as a matter of fact, encounter as well as counter many of those attacks that comes to us. Definitely, cyber awareness is a main pillar in this aspect. Definitely layers of intelligence as well as gathering, threat intel, threat hunting, as well as cross-border collaboration, proactive defensive aspects. All of this comes from that 4 Ps: public, private, people, partnership. And that's what we need to actually really build up our proactive agents. Agents that allows us to really have this peace of mind. Automating so many things with human in the loop. And that's what we're doing, as a matter of fact, today, with everybody, with great partners, with great nations working together in order to provide that defensive network across the whole world. And we're sharing that. We're not keeping it only for UAE. As those cyber attacks, cyber terrorism, cyber crimes, and cyber warfare does not distinguish between a country, a people, an entity, and any of those aspects. And that's what we are actually open for. Such collaboration will build up that resiliency, will build up that threat we're talking about from history to present to future, and allowing us all to really live in a peaceful life, having a peace of mind for my friend to really open his business without the fear of attack, his family to really practice those great technologies without a fear of any of those attacks. And that's the message we're sending. Peace of mind is a human right, not a privilege. And here in UAE, we definitely aim towards that with the vision of our leadership and with the collaboration of everybody. Thank you very much and really appreciate it to be here. Thank you.